Good afternoon, everyone. I am Stuart Friedman, and welcome to HR Talent Alliance's LinkedIn Live Ask Us Anything. First, let me tell you a little bit about HR Talent Alliance. We provide people and talent solutions, which includes executive search and recruiting, career and leadership coaching, and a variety of other people solutions. Today, we brought together our senior coaches, each, if I can say so, I'm not getting in trouble for it, with over 20 years of experience. And each one of us is bringing their unique perspective to career coaching. So let me just give each of us a chance to introduce themselves. Briefly, Susan, you're up. Cannot hear you, Susan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sue Mosian. I'm a certified career transition coach, consultant, and trainer. And I've helped people navigate through many career changes. I've had several, probably about 10 of my very own. So I understand how frustrating this process can be. Most of us are overwhelmed at the process, but these days we have newer tools. So I help my clients focus on real strategies with some motivation and a little bit of mindset worked in. Real strategies, practicing self-care to help you move forward with confidence. So I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Payson.
Hi, I'm Payson Lin. I'm a CPA, SPHR, SHRM, SCP certified. I'm a training development consultant and a career coach trained by Deloitte. I have the business background, the HR background, the training and development background, which are helpful to the clients that I engage with to help them in their career path. I'm delighted to be here today to share some of the job search and career tips with all of you.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Payson. A little bit more about me. As I said, I'm Stuart Friedman. I'm the president and founder of the HR Talent Alliance. I also have an extensive background in human resources. I've worked as a recruiter, both for companies and with executive search firms. And I have a bit more of a practical approach to, as being a hiring manager and a recruiter myself, I have a bit more of a practical approach when it comes to career coaching. With that, let's get started. We wanted to have each of us start off with a suggestion or a tip or sort of a lay of the land of how things currently are in the job search arena. Which one would like to go first?
Okay.
Payson, why don't you?
Thank you, Stuart. I have been engaging in many conversations with folks about, well, what is it that I need to prepare myself, or what is it that I need to be on the lookout for in terms of career and job search. And the best advice that I like to give is ensure that you know yourself. And in turn, you will be able to provide and project yourself in the best light to your potential future employer, as well as you're doing yourself the favor of ensuring that you put your best foot forward to whatever opportunities that might come along. I typically ask people to be present, to be visible, to be out there pretty much. Because if you are sitting behind a screen or being at home, there might be potentially missed opportunities. So I will encourage everyone to attend as many virtual meetings if you can't make it in person, but ideally in-person events are good opportunities where you can establish that one-on-one, because you will be having that person's time without the clock countdown from the virtual event. How am I doing on time, Stuart?
You're doing good. My internet connection is not really being a happy camper today, but you seem to be doing good. Susan, what would you like to share?
So the job search is a really large process, and I really encourage my people or my clients to break it down into smaller pieces. So what do we mean by that? Smaller pieces could be looking up a potential opportunity and seeing if you like a company. Then do a reflection of what are your values? What do you value in a company? Or maybe you're looking to go on your own. Take as many, that we have so many tools, take as many virtual classes. If you belong to a professional association such as SHRM, which is how we all met many years ago, be involved and get a sense from other people who may be working now to see what do they say. We have so many tools at our disposal these days. We have AI, not to write your resume, but can help you craft a really good 60-second commercial. And a coach can help you refine that to make it more attractive to the position or company you think you're going to move toward. By using all the tools, so one of the things I found helpful is actually having a list of the 12 steps of the process. And then each week or 2 weeks, breaking it down, looking at my network. Who do I know on LinkedIn? Who do I know in an association? And start the networking process by setting up informational interviews. By doing that and then taking note of that information, you can then take that information and either work with a coach to develop strategies to then move you in the direction you believe you want to go or get clarity on that direction. Stuart?
Both of those were excellent. What I would like to add is there seems to be a sense, and it may be accurate, it may not be, that this is an extremely difficult job market, that less opportunities are there. And that was going back 2 weeks ago. Now there's even more uncertainty on what's going on in the world and the economy. But every single day, when I'm pop onto LinkedIn, I am seeing people that are announcing that they got jobs. There are always jobs out there. The unemployment is still very low. And regardless of what people's circumstances are in terms of companies, people still always need to hire. Even during holidays and Christmas, there are people out there that are hiring people. And one of the advantages of a time like this, many people could be sitting back and waiting to stuff to settle out, which maybe that means it can give you a leg up because there's less people that are out there applying and looking for positions right now. So that's sort of my take. Go for it. So let's start with our first question. Oh, I'm sorry. So two quick things, just a couple of housekeeping and a couple of announcements. Thank you. I was going to say, please say hi in the chat, which many of you are doing. Please keep it up. Also, with questions that you have, please put your questions in the chat as well. And we're going to be selecting questions from the chat as we go along. And additionally, you will have an opportunity when the QR code comes up on screen. Please scan the QR code because every one of you that does will receive a complimentary introductory career coaching session. And that'll also put you in eligibility for the big bonus today, which is a career accelerator coaching package that's valued at over $700. So please scan the QR code and let's get started with the first question. Well, I know what the first question is, so I was waiting for that to come up on screen. Oh, there it is. How can I transition to a new industry or new type of job without starting over? Who'd like to go first?
Okay, I'll go.
Good.
So when you are transitioning to a new industry or job, I believe it's important to be sure to research and make sure that your values are aligned with the role. I would also, when you are transitioning, to keep your network alive, keep them up to date on what you are doing. So should something happen, and in these economies, you never know when it does, you will be ready to get back up on your feet and network. I would also increase those LinkedIn networks. If you are not already using LinkedIn, it should be your job search buddy in any shape or form. And I think that's really important. It doesn't matter if the market is tight or not, or the unemployment is hot. You still have to do these processes to transition. Also, one other point, if you are transitioning to a new job, be sure you took notes during your interviews and ask questions, because that could come up when you potentially meet with your new supervisor.
Good advice. Payson, do you want to add something?
Yes. You will want to identify transferable skills. And those transferable skills will give you the option to see what other opportunities may exist that you can explore. This is going to be the opportunity for you to possibly pursue your dream job. And it's also an opportunity for you to see if you can identify a job, an industry, a career that more aligns with your interest. And also, this is going to give you the opportunity to see if there are jobs that are not typically known in your line of work, but perhaps it's something that you didn't think of yet exists for you. And it could be an interesting window to explore. So all the things that Susan had mentioned, as well as what I just shared, are good tips for you to take with you to explore new opportunities, new jobs, new industries, or anything that you want to try at this particular point in time or any time.
All right, great. And I appreciate you folks popping some questions up in the chat. Please do so. And we're going to go to our second question, which is somewhat similar to what I was discussing in a few minutes ago. And it's in relation to the job market has tightened and become competitive in general. And now with all the economic uncertainty, everything's up in the air. Should one wait until things settle down? Well, I sort of already said something on it, so why don't you two go ahead?
So I'll answer. It's not a good thing to wait. You should always, and I learned this, boy, took me a very long time, keep your network alive. Whether you're working, whether you're in transition, you know a layoff is coming. Even when you are working, it is really important to keep it alive, because those people will be your first go-to when you start to ask those questions about where should I be transitioning to? How do you feel about the current market? Maybe you're connected to someone who's in an industry that you want to be in. I think you should always keep that network alive.
Okay, good advice. Yeah, go ahead, Payson.
In many instances, you may have experienced it yourself. A lot has to do with timing. You don't know when, where an opportunity might show up. So my recommendation is, it's not that you have to put in 200 hours right now to look for a job, but you don't want to totally walk away. Keep your eyes and ears to the ground, just in case anything pops up. In the meantime, take care of your well-being. You are entitled to go on vacations, even a small one. You need to rejuvenate yourself so that you could forge ahead for whatever opportunity comes along. Take the time to develop your skills, learn new things, network. You will do yourself great service by doing all those things, because along the way, things might pop up that you are unexpected to encounter, and it may work in its best light. So my recommendation is you don't have to spend a lot of hours, but certainly don't sit back and let things happen until you never know when actually the market might come back up.
Okay, great. So those are questions that people had forwarded us in advance of us being live today. Now let's take a question right here from someone in the audience. What should be our job strategy? Which sites should we register on? I think that really depends on your industry and what you're looking for. I think the two main ones out there are universally are probably still LinkedIn and Indeed. There's Dice for the tech area. There's some others, I think. But keep in mind that less than 1/3 of the jobs out there in the United States, people get from responding to a job post. Susan Payson, would one of you like to add on to that?
I'll add. In terms of the job,
we can go on to the next question.
Oh, okay.
No. Go ahead, Susan.
Okay, so in terms of the job postings, it's really better to have some type of concise brand that you have put together so that you will focus on that particular role that you're going after and not just point and click. And the networking aspect is also important because people will help you. Other people that are working, colleagues, the networking aspect is so crucial here. And it does not matter the economic situation, although it might be affecting your particular industry. So it is always good to have in your network people that are already working and for you to be asking them, so how is it? How are people getting jobs in your industry? I've had a lot of clients, once they've had their resume and their LinkedIn optimized, they are getting jobs right off of LinkedIn. They are looking for people in the same companies or similar companies so that they have almost a direct connection. If that's possible, that's really great. But you may know someone, like, I might know someone in an industry that Payson or Stewart have had experience in, and I might want to set up an informational. And that is where your networking really will help you more than pointing and clicking.
Okay, next question. Okay, so this is very common. It's a little challenging, but what should someone do when they've been out of work for a while and making inroads and getting back into the workforce? That's probably similar to how to handle a gap that might be on your resume. So one would sort of cover both of those. Payson, would you like to start? Sort of just throwing it at you.
Sure thing. Thank you for the question. All righty. So if you have you've been out of the workforce for a while, think of projects or volunteer work or anything that you've engaged yourself in. Even if you have children, volunteering for the PTA. All your involvement helps you keep up your skill sets, especially the soft skill sets that are important for the workplace. And so whatever you have spent your time in, make sure that you let people know that those are areas in which you have developed your skill sets, even if it's not with the formal corporation or organization. And to Stuart's part B question about having the gaps in your resume, for example, if I saw one of the questions asking about, well, if you have been taking time off to take care of your elderly parent, then well, what are you, how are you going to write it down? Or if you take time off to raise a family, have children, you could put that down on your resume as you took time away to be the personal caregiver. And you are not just the professional you, you're also the personal you. Everything makes up you. And so you present that candidly and honestly on your resume, and people will understand. So after you took some off, you made a decision that's best for the situation at hand. And now you're ready and able to go back to the workforce and contribute your skills there.
That's great. We are getting a lot of questions, but Sue, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, the only thing I'd add, and I think Payson alluded to it, was you would have a little small blurb at your resume, probably with the years. This is the way I've done it. And then you don't go into a whole long information, just your caregiving or whatever, the coach can help you with that. But I think it should be there so that there's no issue with a gap and you're covered.
Okay, great. So as we have the next question pop up on screen, by the way, there's some great advice and suggestions about stuff going on in the chat. Some of those people are doing their own thing, so hopefully we'll catch that and be able to share it with you after the LinkedIn Live. So this is from Rochelle in Southern California. How best to a time gap. So I think Susan actually just addressed that. Anything else that you want to add to that, Susan?
Nope. We would just, we would make note of that on your resume and show you how to display that. And then you would just either keep networking or volunteering, as Payson said, or looking for ways in which, you could bring your skill set back to the workplace.
And Sanjay Deed actually just added on to that. So I'm going to go out of form here. Why do we still treat career gaps like red flags? Shouldn't companies be more accepting of people taking time off to relearn, replenish, reevaluate, deal with things that are going on? And I absolutely agree with that, but the world doesn't seem to agree with us on it. So that next question after this one. I know, sorry, I messed up the order, guys. Very good question from Anna. What is your top recommendation to stay motivated after receiving a rejection email?
You have to read.
That's the question. Who wants?
I'm going to jump in.
Good.
I can start.
All right, go ahead, Stuart.
You have no idea why that occurred. You literally have no idea why that occurred. You don't even know if someone looked at your resume, if they might have filled the position already. There's just a whole series of reasons why, and it's you just need to move on. Maybe you need to take a break for a day or two. Maybe you need to do something for yourself. Maybe you need to go out and relax. I mean, you do need to take breaks from your job search. And I would also recommend getting support. It doesn't have to be from a career coach or something like that. It can be from, it could be from getting a job search buddy. So, someone who you meet and can vent and share suggestions with about your job search. Do either of you want to add something to that?
I'm going to add, I have read many threads of people saying that, company ghosted me. I went through a couple of rounds of interview and then poof, nothing happens. And then I get a rejection letter. But take everything with a grain of salt. You can't let these letters get to you. Think of the statistics. How many people apply to the job? How many people can they hire ultimately? And finally, it's that one. Okay. So it's everybody. There's a lot more people getting that rejection letter than you think. And actually, I'm going to share with you one of my stories. I was scheduled for a video interview on Skype. This was way back when, and with the company in New York City in Brooklyn. And I was on the interview. Nobody joined. I emailed the person who scheduled the interview. No response. Less than 24 hours later, I got an email saying, "How would you rate your interview?" What do you want me to say? I was there and there was nobody there. Was there even an interview? So don't take any. I was rejected, like in some form, shape or form. But you just can't really take things, personally too much. Otherwise, if you apply to 365 job and you get 365 rejection letter, you're gonna be sad every single day, and that's not how you want to approach your life or your next job that you're pursuing. So definitely take care of yourself. Get up from your seat, walk around, walk outside. There's a whole world out there, and it's sometimes a lot of things happens for a reason, and just wait for the right timing.
I'd like to add something. How about if you are not working and in full-time job search, figure 35 to 40 hours a week, which includes networking meetings, taking your lunch. If you didn't take lunch while you were working, you're taking lunch. What is your self-care? Post-COVID, more people are doing self-care. And that is so important, especially when you are getting rejection after rejection after rejection. Self-care, take an hour, take 2. Take a walk. If you can't take a walk, put your headphones on, whether you podcast or music, do something totally away from job search, then try and come back. Then review or reflect. What was the process you used? Maybe there's a thread of something that could be tweaked. Maybe you could bounce off with a coach or someone else that you trust. So what feedback can you give me that this keeps happening to me? And like Seward said, you may not know why, but at least you will feel good and stay motivated by doing the self-care in between. And if you are working and job searching, no more than 10 to 12 hours a week. That means taking a weekend. That means taking a short vacation. All of those things keep you positive. And if you don't keep that in as part of the job search process, trust me, you will be like a hamster on a wheel, and that's not what you want. Thank you.
Let me just add one other thing. If you end up being in a situation where you end up getting terminated or something else happens and you end up parting ways with your company unexpectedly for whatever the circumstances, please, please, please take a breath, take a breather. Don't jump into doing anything. Decompress. Rejuvenize your energy and your battery so that you get a better perspective on it. Is my strong recommendation. Everyone doesn't follow that, but it's highly recommended, and I think most other career coaches would recommend it as well. Mm-hmm. So just a couple of quick announcements here. And someone just asked, and Kevin just asked, where's the QR code? Here's the QR code. you're thinking on the same wavelength. Yeah. So please scan the QR code for your free introductory coaching session and a chance to win HR Talent Alliance's Career Accelerator Coaching Plan, which is over $700. Also, please keep putting your questions in the chat, and also would like to, well, two things here. Mr. Kandi, I would appreciate it if you'd stop trying to sell your services in our chat during our LinkedIn Live. Why don't you do your own event or seminar on LinkedIn if you'd like to introduce your services to our audience? And I would also appreciate it if you could, it seems like an appropriate time to give ourselves a plug with the types of career coaching that we offer here at HR Talent Alliance. And I think we have a slide for that should be coming up, but we offer a wide array of career coaching and leadership coaching programs. Here's some of them. Everything we do is completely customized to your specific needs and objectives and goals. So thank you. And now after that promotional opportunity, we will, let's go back to the questions. But if we could, this is sort of like the midway point. And when we were preparing for this, we were talking about what I referred to as our pet peeves, things that candidates or clients or people that are looking for jobs do, that some things that really annoy me, but they also annoy me because they're not smart things to do. So one of my pet peeves is with LinkedIn, your LinkedIn picture. Most of what you do right now is virtual. There's, even less phone interviews. So have a LinkedIn picture that is from this decade, please. I have a great one from when I was in my 20s where I look like Geraldo Rivera. I should have thought of sharing it. That's not helpful. Also, don't have one where clearly you crop some people out of it. It's just really not professional. And additionally, don't use your wedding picture where you crop out your wife and you're in a tuxedo with a funny smile on your face. Just get a professional shot. And everyone knows how to take pretty good selfies at this point. That's mine. Susan, would you like to go next?
So I don't really have a lot of those, but one thing I find that can be challenging is when people send me resumes or the LinkedIn synopsis, and it's in a very tiny, and I mean tiny font, less than 9. So everything should be in at least a 10-point font, something clear. It doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, we would be working on it with you, but not so tiny that you can't even see it with a magnifying glass. And that's really challenging as a coach.
And the excuse they give when I've spoken to people, either from the recruiting side or from clients, usually it's from the recruiting side, it's like, oh, well, I wanted to fit it to one page. I'm like, you need a magnifying glass to read this thing. Payson?
My pet peeve is people disappear after they land a job. I find that to be a bit short-sighted. Okay, and it feels like you're treating your contact as a transaction, and that's not good professional mannerism or practice. Networking is typically a two-way street. If you really want something long-lasting, and I'm sure you're not going to just have a couple of jobs in your lifetime. Down the road, you may need them again. And so you don't want to show up as that person that's like, oh, I got what I want, and then bye. So keep in mind that networking is a two-way street for you to have a better, beneficial, mutually beneficial relationship, you should keep that in mind and practice that for your future benefit.
That's great. Okay, now questions. Yeah, I know we're sort of asking the control room to do too many things at the same time here. This is from Mark. Artificial intelligence seems like it could be very useful in researching companies, writing networking letters, creating a resume, post-interview follow-up, emails, et cetera, et cetera. Are there any downsides to using AI? Well, you people know my view on this, so I'll give Susan and Payson a chance to talk about it before I get on my soapbox.
So AI can be extremely helpful. And the thing that I really caution against, it should not write your resume. However, it is wonderful for brainstorming ideas. And I'll give you an example. I had a client last year who lived in a very small town in the Middle West. And she was looking for a particular role in I think it was a healthcare industry. Anyway, I said to her, go to your favorite AI. I like ChatGPT, and put in your zip codes of how far this was not a remote position. So where are those companies near the town or within 10 or 20 miles of where she lived? And she came back to me the following time we met and said, it only came up with 10 places and 2 of them I had already found. So it gave her 4 or 5 or 6 other places to then network, research, and possibly find something she didn't expect to find. The other thing I like AI for is your LinkedIn profile for optimization. So we all should have an about section. However, it changes, right? Over the course of economics, maybe you're doing something different. I myself have 3 different roles. And at the time I was training, I had sort of a different one, slightly tweaked for each. AI can now take what you wrote though, and you can say add personality. But it's important to read it out loud. Is it really you? Read it to someone. Does that sound like me? Because I have heard of people using an AI written resume, get the interview, and then are asked for examples and situations on how they achieved that. And they are looking at the interviewer dumbfounded. So I really use it for the research, use it for the brainstorming. And yes, it can possibly give you places if you are not in a major demographic where there are plenty of companies and nonprofits. It's an excellent tool for that. It does not replace coaching. It does not replace HR. It is a help. It is a tool. It is still being refined. That's my take on it.
Everything Susan said, keep that in mind. And I just want to, throw in my 2 cents here where I would encourage you to be you. Yes, use AI, leverage AI, but AI is not you. And the person on the other end is going to see that eventually. It's great that you're using AI, but you also want to put yourself forward. So keep that in mind. You wanted to have your tone, and someone had mentioned personality. So it comes through. So even if it's not on upon first glance, that later on it will be discovered if you are leveraging AI too much, because AI is AI and not you.
There you go.
I strongly agree with both of those. I wrote a blog a couple of months back that was titled "Stop Using AI to Write Your Resume." It's a tool, and only you have your voice, and that's what really needs to come through in your profile and your resume. Next question. Many people say that personality play, oh, this is on point here. Many people say personality plays a key role in getting hired. How do you balance being yourself in an interview by maintaining professionalism?
I'll jump in first since I alluded to that. Okay. Hope when you say maintaining professionalism, it's not that normally you are not acting professional. We all recognize we can no longer be, kids, because we have to be in a professional setting and present ourselves as such. And so what will work to your benefit is to try to maintain as much professionalism as you can by practicing yourself in the settings where you could try to bring you out, as well as maintaining professionalism. What's professionalism? Well, don't curse. Okay, like that's an example. Don't make it your show, because in the professional setting, you give everyone an equal opportunity to speak. And what you would want to do is also look professional, add your own style. So there are certain ways to have your personality show and maintaining that professionalism at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I strongly agree with that. And there is a difference between, so many things are done on video or virtual, interviews right now. And when you're doing that, it is different and it has a different feel than an in-person interview. When you're in person, you can get a better sense of someone's, the vibe or whatever that might be going on. But in a virtual, you need to make sure that that's coming across. So you need to be professional, but you also need to be personable. You need to smile occasionally, not come off and start looking like a clown and go overboard, but you need to show some enthusiasm for the position. And it's important, since if it's virtual, that you do some other things to show that you're interested in and have some, connection with it. Susan, you have anything you want to add to that, or should we move on?
Just quickly, it's really important to be authentic. The more you practice your 60-second commercial and the more you speak it to your friends, your colleagues, the more of your personality will show through when you're having the interview. Of course, you're going to smile. It's also a good idea, as you become more comfortable, you will ask questions. You'll ask follow-up, and you'll see that your personality will blend in to the process, whether it's the interviewing or the networking. Sorry.
Okay, so this is sort of last call for putting questions into the chat, because we got about 12 or 13 minutes left. So if you have any other questions, put them in the chat. We're also going to try to record that and answer the ones that we do not get to. I'm going to sort of break the format here that we set up for this. There's several comments and questions that are coming in about the resume, about the format of the resume, the number of pages it should be. Clearly, we established it should be 10 or 11 or 12 points type. But generally, what do you folks? What's your go-to in terms of what you say best practices for creating a resume? For me, I personally don't like a lot of the new super modern contemporary resumes. Mm-hmm. Some of them are okay. Some of them I think are just too artsy, which is fine if you're, a creative person, but not if you're accountant or work in HR or, business or something else. That's my view.
So our school of thought is probably 10 years per page. That does not mean if you have a 30 or 40-year history, you have 4 pages. However, your experience on the resume goes back 10 to 15 years of relevant experience. And what do we mean by that? Relevant means, so that 30-second commercial or brand, what are you leaning toward? Maybe you're leaning toward 3 or 4 different roles. you would tweak that top. And I tend to like either a hybrid or a standard format with probably I don't forgot what the name is, but there's a line across the top with catchwords or phrases from the job you're applying for. Not the exact job description. You're using some catchwords that would probably be in your brand or your 30-second commercial.
I mean, positions or specialty that you have, like
Yeah,
if you're an
a
accountant,
specialty, right.
let's say, fund accountant, specialized, tax specialist, those types of things. So you're branding yourself and it's giving people some understanding of what you're all about.
Right.
I'll jump in, and I will cite an example to support what Susan had just said. I am in my 2.5 career. My first career is in accounting, a CPA, but I removed all my accounting experiences because it's not relevant to my current day job, which is training and development. So you need to be able to look at the job description and see what they are looking for and customize it that way. Even though in training and development, one of my experience in teaching accounting and business is relevant, but I don't readily have it highlighted because I had a lot of other learning and development experience that I can have on the resume to show that my experience and expertise in that area. So you would pick and choose to see which one is applicable or not applicable. Mm-hmm. If I'm pursuing an opportunity in teaching at another educational institution, that I will want to bring back my teaching experience and present that on the resume. So you customize it to the job that you're pursuing.
The other thing I want to say about resumes, things have changed because they're digital, so it's less important that it be one page than before. But if you're early in your career and have only worked, 3, 4, or 5 years, there's no reason for your resume to be on 2 pages. No one's going to care that you were on the lacrosse team when you were in high school. You already have a professional. You already have a professional background. And someone just put into chat the question about keywords. Mm-hmm. Personally, I'm of the belief that you need to write and craft your resume for a person to read, and hope that at some point your resume is going to get in front of a pair of real eyeballs. And if you just craft your resume completely with keywords, doesn't make any sense usually. I could do a whole workshop on that, but that's just in terms of adding a couple of things. Be genuine, be yourself. And the last thing I'm going to say about that is focus and include on what's going to move you forward for the job and the career path that you want. Forget about the rest of it. And then, I may care that Pei Sin was an accountant at one point, but other people may not. Anyway, sorry for picking on you. We have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Which is more beneficial in one's career, moving up the ladder or moving across and gaining experience in different roles?
I'll jump in first, since I have a couple of careers. I'm sure many of us do. The bottom line answer is depends on what you are pursuing or looking to do. If you're starting out, for example, in the HR career as a HR specialist, are you looking to be a HR director years down the road? A HR director requires different skill sets than an HR specialist. So an HR director has broader understanding of everything HR. But if like me, I enjoy training and development. I want to pursue training and development specifically given its positive learning environment. Then I will move, across laterally. I still have my general experience that's going to supplement what I am currently in. But what I really wanted to pursue is training development. So then it makes sense for me to be able to take on different roles, teaching and doing career coaching, and which all falls under the training and development arena. So it depends on what you're looking to do and where you ultimately want to land.
And I'd like to add, you might think about, along with what Paysen just said, where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years? We used to say 5 to 10. These days, it's 3 to 5. So where are you presently? And then maybe you're not interested in management. Maybe you just want to gain some different experiences. It's really important to reflect on that and figure out where do you see yourself, and then start moving in that direction. Do you need upskilling? Maybe you don't. Maybe you have a connection who can assist you. These are really important to look at before you decide moving up, moving down, moving across.
Thank you. Okay, so additional questions here. I don't know. I know there's a bunch in the chat. We have some that were sent in previously. Let's see if we can try to answer a few in the last few minutes that we have before we wrap up. How can I stand out among other candidates in my job search? All right, I'll start with that. I was going to have one of you ladies jump in. Some of the things that we're talking about, you need to have your genuine voice. You know, you need to be genuine about who you are, about what you can bring to the table for someone, about what your areas of expertise are, and focus on it, you know, in unique ways. Reach out to people that are interested, that might be interested in you. You know, network within, not just on LinkedIn, but find professional associations, professional groups that that's connected to the career that you're going in. A couple other comments.
I'd like to jump in.
Yeah.
Like Stuart said, you want to be yourself, and how do you stand out? Identify what skills or contributions you can make that's uniquely yours. For me, I had my first career in accounting, so I had the business acumen, the financial acumen. That's how I differentiate myself amongst the other HR professionals or training and development professionals. Also, how do you stand out? By being there. Be where most people are not. So yes, it actually does take me 2 hours to get into Midtown Manhattan for an in-person meet and greet networking meeting, but you got to do what you got to do. Be out there, be visible, volunteer, so that people you volunteer with already knows you, and you're going to be the first person they think of when opportunity comes along. And that's also the time when you hear of things firsthand from your network and from your contacts.
And I'll
actually, that's what I was going to add also is, go ahead, Susan.
I'll add to that. Know your unique value proposition. That's really important. So during my last change, I had opportunities in different parts of HR, and it was determined that if I was not interested in higher management, I could do 2 or 3 different things. So it's really important to know your value prop and then what makes you unique there, because that's what really will help you move in more of the right directions as you zigzag through job search.
And I was just going to add, and Payson and Susan know that I'm a big believer in this. You know, get involved in your professional organizations around, and don't just be a member of them, volunteer. That's the way to be seen and have people get more familiar with you. That's what I did. I know Payson is involved very heavily in some professional organizations. So Susan, I think it's something that really does help have you stand out. One last quick question, and then we got to wrap up. Oh, okay. This seems like appropriate for wrapping up. What can a career coach do for me that I cannot do for myself?
I'll
Eileen?
jump in first. The first thing
Thank
that
you.
comes to mind is you're going to have not necessarily just a buddy, but an accountability partner. Someone who can actually see your blind spots and could be candid with you to help you in the pursuit of your next career or endeavor.
And in addition to the accountability, to help you set goals, even small goals, create strategies to help you move forward and to keep you on point. It's not just about writing your resume, and it's really a partnership, and we work together to get you moving forward.
Great, excellent to say about that personally, but we are actually running out of time, so I'll have to share that at another time. Listen, we really want to thank all of you so much for being a part of this today. We appreciate you being here. Please scan the QR code if you haven't. Someone who's here today is going to win a $700 valued career accelerator that includes 5+ one-to-one career coaching sessions, as well as a whole bunch of other things. And with that, if we didn't get a chance to answer your questions, we will try to do so in the near future, either with you directly or in LinkedIn. So please follow us on LinkedIn as well. And that's it. That's a wrap for us. Thank you all very much. I think we have a thank you slide that you can pull up. And we look forward to seeing you and working with you again in the near future. Paysin, Sue, do you have any super quick thank yous?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been great to work with all of you. Look forward to continuing.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to have this fun session. I think we should definitely do it again.
Okay,
yeah, we're hoping to do this again soon. Thank you all for coming, and yeah, we'll see you soon. Thank you.